Let me get straight to it and not beat around the bush. An 11-year-old black girl was coming home from school and she had a book bag. She was put in handcuffs by the police, and their excuse for doing this was that she fit the description of someone who stole a car, and the car was supposed to be a Kia. Now, in 11 years, but see, the problem is this: she had a book bag, which is evident that she was coming home from school. They say this person they were looking for stole a car. Well, she was walking. She wasn't in a car. And she's 11 years old. So do you think a little 11-year-old child do not steal cars? And you can tell by her age that this had to be mistaken identity. Now, the reality of the situation, this, in my opinion, looks like a kidnapping. If it walks like a duck, quack like a duck, it's a duck. You put handcuffs on an 11-year-old child, and then you use the excuse that she looks like a person who stole the car. But she's not in the car. She has on a book bag walking, and she's only 11 years old. There is no way on God's green earth that you can tell me you thought that she was a car thief. Now my question is, how long was the car stolen? Had the car been missing? Was the car recently stolen? It had to be recently stolen if you're looking for you to stop and pick her up. And if it was recently stolen, where is the car? That's the first thing you should have looked for, is the car. See, this is BS. And I'll tell you something now. Too many black children, boys and girls, are coming up missing. And see, from the video, there was nobody around but the police and this little girl. Luckily, her sister saw the incident and was looking for her. So they may have been walking together, and and she was just trailing behind her sister, and the police didn't see it. And she filmed it. And before the police knew it was the sister, they told her to leave, to go away. And then she said, no, that's my sister, and my mother told me to stay with her. Now, why would the police tell her to leave? She was not stopping or interfering with what the police were doing. She wasn't interfering. So why should she leave? Unless they were trying to hide what they were doing. And when they found out that it was her sister, then they had to stop the game. Now, my question is, from this point on, we need to hear that call in. We need to hear that call in. And the person who calls in, when you call the police station, you have to identify yourself. So we need to know who this person is and make sure that they actually receive this call. Because it seems to me, one excuse the police uses all the time is that I fear for my life. That's why when a black man is stopped, we hold on to the steering wheel so that they can't use the excuse that they feared for their life. And now, as far as I'm concerned, when they're kidnapping a young black girl or a young black man, they use the excuse, well, you fit the description. So now we're going to have to find a way to stop this. She fit the description. She's 11 years old. An 11-year-old child Come on now, 11-year-old child walking around in the snow with a book bag on. You think this is a person that stole a car? Well, I think, and it is my opinion, that she was being kidnapped because there's too many young black kids being kidnapped, coming up missing, and the police don't find anyone. And plus, we have black women complaining that when their kids are coming up missing, it's not on the news. It is not on the news. Now, why? Then you look at the news. I looked at one news channel, and the news people, they were trying to look all sad and everything, but it looked phony to me. They looked phony. It looked phony. Because I believe that they're getting these stories, and then they'll run them for a day, and then you don't hear about it anymore. To me, that was, and I'm gonna say this: pedophiles. You want to find a pedophile? They will usually get a job where they are around children. And there was a big thing a few years ago. Boy Scout masters, these Boy Scout troops, these guys who affiliated with Boy Scouts. A lot of these guys turned out to be pedophiles. Jobs around kids, pedophiles that look for those jobs. And as far as I'm concerned, and the way I see no reason why a police wouldn't use his badge and a uniform to get away with a crime. It's the best way. The best way to get away with a crime is to be a police. Nobody suspects you, and they're gonna call you, and then you show up at the crime, and you after committing the crime. Then you had the young man Rasheem Carter, who was murdered, and his body parts were all over the place. And before he was came up missing, he went to the police for help, and they put him out. They didn't give him a ride to his apartment where he was staying. They put him out the police station instead of giving him a ride. And he called and told his mother who did it, but they won't put it. And we still haven't heard the film because we're investigating it. You see, we have reason not to. I don't trust the police, and we have good reason. We have very, very good circumstantial evidence not to trust the police, because they use circumstantial evidence when they put handcuffs on that young girl. Those were circumstantial evidence. When they shoot a black man, they use circumstantial evidence. So why can't I use circumstantial evidence to accuse them of getting ready to kidnap this young girl? I mean, we already have evidence of at least 5 or 6 police officers beating a black man to death in jail in New York. And then we have this Letitia James. She recuses herself from the whole case, but she could have at least, based on the evidence, filed charges and then recuse herself. You see, black people, either we go back to Africa, or we act like or we do a better job of protecting our kids and stop trusting police. Because it's like almost weekly that you hear about some black person being assaulted by the police and then suing. And then when you sue, the money don't come out of the police union. The money comes out of taxpayers' money. But when the police union, when the police gets caught, the union will use their money to protect the police and will use their money to, police union will use their money to protect road cops. So if it's okay for them to use their money to protect road cops that are guilty, then they should pay a large part of the civil suit. The civil suit should come out of their retirement. I mean, how are you, if you're going to use that money to protect them in a court of law, and then they get convicted, what does that say? You are trying to harbor a criminal, a felon. You're using that money to protect a felon. So if the police union tries to use its funds to protect a person that is guilty, then that is aiding and abetting a criminal. That's what it is. You're trying to protect a criminal. And if you're trying to protect a criminal, see, that's not violating, that's not a union case. That's a felony. A felony is not a union case. I work for the post office, and the reality of the situation is this. If a postman is caught stealing mail or accused of stealing mail, the union does not protect him. No union, I don't think it's a union in the world that protects felons in a court case other than the police. And that's got to stop, and it's got to change. And in the meanwhile, if you young black people, you got kids in school, pick your kids up from school. Make sure that they don't walk home by themselves under no circumstance. Under no circumstance. Because black people have called the police, have been the victim of crimes, called the police, got arrested, and some have been shot dead. Time for us to not just smell the coffee, but drink the coffee and act accordingly.